Have you ever encountered somebody telling you that, hey, I got to go speak with my spouse. I've got to go speak with my husband. I better go check with my wife first. Or something like, I'm going to have to go speak to the accounting department. In either of these cases and examples like that, it's someone giving up their power to allow somebody else to make the decision for them. And there's a way to be able to overcome that. My name is Joe Marcoux, and I'm the founder of the SOS, the Sales Objection System Dojo, and I want to welcome you to this video. So congratulations for continuing to watch this, because I want to give you the step-by-step on how to overcome this particular objection. So somebody says to you, I'm going to have to speak with my spouse, or I'm going to have to speak with my boss. I'm going to have to speak with my wife. I'm going to have to speak with my husband, or something of that nature. I have to go speak to the VP, the accounting department, HR. It doesn't matter. When they're giving up their power to someone else, what do? Most people will say to me, Joe, you know what? By far, the spouse objection, the moment I hear it, that's it. I crumble. Have you ever felt that way? So what do you do in this particular instance? Well, let me share with you, first of all, the SOS. The sales objection system is a two-step system. The first thing you need to do is acknowledge the person you're speaking with. A lot of people, they skip the acknowledgement and they go right into asking a question like, so what are you going to go speak to them about? And they get all emotional about it. Let's just take a deep breath. First things first, acknowledge the person that you're speaking with. So somebody says, hey, you know what? I'm going to have to go and speak with my wife first. Acknowledge that. The fact that you're being a team player, A-okay, that's great. Out of curiosity, right? So now that was step one. Acknowledge the person, be specific, and then get into the question. So step one, acknowledge. Step two, ask a question. Again, the goal here is not to have an agenda to sell them something. The goal here, the agenda must be, I want to understand them. You need to be in a position where you understand your guest. They're not a prospect. They're not a number. They're a guest. You have to develop a relationship with them. So in this context, drop everything that other people say about sales. This whole pushy BS thing about aggressiveness, that's not the approach that we take here with integrity within the SOS Dojo. The approach is going to be a little bit different. Acknowledge the person first. Maintain the relationship, because business is about relationships. That being the case, this strategy is all about people. Acknowledge them. Okay, so you want to be a team player. Out of curiosity, here's the question. When you go and speak with them, are you just checking in to make sure it's okay to move forward with this? Or are you just letting them know that you are moving forward with this? And you notice that I asked two questions in one, and I didn't use the word permission. I mean, if I said to you, so are you going to ask for permission? The likelihood is you might feel like, hey, what do you mean I got to go ask for permission? And that's not what we want to imply. So the words that we use are important. Like, words are 7% of the way that we communicate. More importantly, though, it's the tone of voice. And you'll hear that the way that I finished the question was with a downward inflection. So you'll hear it again. Hey, I got to go speak with my spouse. So you want to be a team player. And when you go speak with them, are you letting them know that you're moving forward with this? Or are you checking in to see if it's okay to move forward with this? And again, it was a downward inflection, which comes across as authoritative instead of aggressive. Now, what you can also do is you can remove a portion of this with a downward inflection. And this is important because it's 38% of the way we communicate is our tone of voice. 55%, by the way, is body language. So there's little tips and cues that we like to practice that we give people so that it becomes unconscious, that unconscious competence where you're doing it automatically. You're not even thinking about it. And that's a tilt of a head, using of hand gestures, sometimes the way that you use your eyebrow. All of this will play a part because 55% of the way that we communicate is body language. And in the face of a tough objection like, I need to go speak with my wife, or I need to go speak with my husband, or I'm going to go speak with the accounting department, people will typically crumble. And you don't want to crumble. You want to maintain your confidence, you want to maintain your conviction, and you want to maintain your control. And putting in the right type of practice will help you get there. So somebody says, I need to go speak with my spouse. So you want to be a team player. So when you go speak with them, you're getting together with them just to let them know you're moving forward with this. And you'll notice the difference. Earlier on, what I said was, so are you speaking with them because you want to let them know you're moving forward with this? Or are you letting them know that it's okay to move forward with this? Right? So you're getting the, is it okay to move forward with this? What I did on this latest example is I removed one of the two questions and I made it more of a statement. And what you can do is, in conclusion, if you think about it from that perspective, so in conclusion, think about it from that perspective. So in conclusion, you're letting them know you're moving forward with this. And what am I saying without saying it? Yes. Hey, I got to go speak with my spouse. Joe, you want to be a team player. So when you speak with them, you're letting them know you're moving forward with this. As opposed to, so when you speak with them, you're letting them know you're moving forward with this. There's a generation of people right now that they have this unfortunate habit, and it unfortunately shows a sign of weakness. Now, you may be aware of it. It's every time that they say something, they have this way that they say it, and they don't even notice it. It's because every time that they're speaking, almost at the end of every sentence, there seems to be like an upward inflection, and it sounds like they're asking a question. Meanwhile, they're just making a statement. It kind of gets a little bit annoying. And unfortunately, the subconscious mind picks this up as a sign of weakness. You don't want to come across as weak. You want to come across as the expert, the trusted advisor, the authority. Now, there's a time to be able to have the occasional upward inflection. When you're asking a question in a position of authority, use the downward inflection. And it takes practice. Oftentimes in the dojo, we'll have people who'll give this one a shot and they'll say, and they'll do reading. So you're speaking with them because you simply want to let them know that you're moving forward with this? And it's like, okay, stop. Let's try that again. Acknowledge. So you want to be a team player. So you're speaking with them because you want to let them know you're moving forward with this. And it's that forward with this that sometimes people will get tripped up. Because again, sometimes people are used to always having an upward inflection every time they speak with their friends and they speak with other people. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is they lose that ability to have that centered authority. So by practicing this, you can be in a place where you can still be genuine, still be authentic, and still come across as the expert. That's what we want. So in the face of, I need to speak to my spouse, this is just the start. What if they answer back and they go, oh no, I got to go and check to make sure it's okay. Great. The next step, because this objection can be layered, the next step is, all right, so you want to continue to be a team player. You want to make sure that everybody's on board and you get the okay. Out of curiosity, what do you think your spouse is going to say? So we want to find out. And what could the spouse say? Ask yourself right now, what would the spouse say if they want to get approval? Is it about price? The spouse might say, is this something that we want? The spouse might say, this is too expensive. Then you got to handle the expensive thing. We can't afford this. Then you got to handle the affordability objection. Honey, you know what? We're going to have to think about this. We're going to delay. Well, now you have to deal with those objections. And the skill set of stacking objections is what makes the spouse objections so unique. Because once you know the basics of the fundamental objections, getting into the spouse objection actually gets pretty easy. Now, again, there's multiple layers to this, and it requires repetition and practice. How do you build up confidence? You start off slow and you build it up. You don't just go in and say, I'm going for it, no practice, I'm gonna have a speech in front of 10,000 people. The best of the best at anything, and I'll use comedians as the example, they write material and then they're gonna go to a small club and they're gonna practice their material in front of a live audience to see how it lands. And at the first few times, it might get clunky, and as they get better at it, then guess what? You're Kevin Hart on a Netflix special, or you're Jerry Seinfeld on a Netflix special, and you crush it every time. They might even be the best in the world. The best in the world practice and they deliver it several times before they go and do it in front of a live audience. That's what you need to do. You don't practice on a sales call. You practice in a position where it feels like the sales call without losing on a sales call. That's how you build up confidence. And that's exactly what we do in the SOS Dojo. I want you to become so masterful at the spouse objection and every other objection that you actually hope that they show up. Can you imagine if you were that confident in your ability to overcome objections that you were actually hoping that they would show up during a buying conversation, or what some people call a sales call? That, my friends, is confidence. And I want to invite you to click the button below and come in for a free session and just try it. You're going to be able to meet people who are doing it themselves this way. They're masterful at it. And I want the same for you, because the spouse objection doesn't need to be something that you are afraid of. In fact, you could literally say, bring it on, because I want that for you. Don't allow people to give their power up to someone else. Let's empower them to make a decision. And no, by the way, no is acceptable. If you find out it's no, guess what? Then you find out what the specifics are that make it a no so that you can then make the course corrections so that you can avoid the no's in the future. As opposed to, oh, well, it was a spouse objection. I'm sure they'll call me. No, they won't. Don't get ghosted. Don't be scared of the spouse objection. Come into the dojo. We'll solve that. So I'll see you in the dojo.